We were talking about what's happening in the United Kingdom. Boris Johnson has been named as the new UK Prime Minister. He pushed hard for Brexit and he secured more than 92,000 votes in the Tory leadership contest in comparison to his rival Jeremy Hunt, who got approximately 46,000 votes. That's a long and clear lead there. But what now? The clock is ticking fast to the October 31 deadline. That's the Brexit deadline. Time has come for that. What happens now? I mean, we saw Theresa May struggling on numerous occasions, going to the EU, back and forth, trying to strike a deal. And she obviously was not successful in that. I'm joined now by Lukman Otunuga, a senior research analyst at FXTM, just to give us some insight as to what's going to happen, how this is going to impact not only South Africa, the rest of emerging markets and the rest of the world. A very good evening to you, Lukman. Thanks for joining me.
Good evening. Thank you for having me here today.
So, Lukman, what happens now? What happens, what's the deal for Brexit?
Firstly, this simply means more sleepless nights for me and anyone who's following this jigsaw puzzle. There'll be more uncertainty in Britain as investors question whether the UK will actually leave the European Union with no deal in place on October the 31st. These fears can already be reflected in the British pound, which has crashed to a 27-month low against the dollar, and it's one of the worst performing currencies in the G10 space. The pound is so bad, I'm even reconsidering if I should have my summer holiday in Europe. But seriously speaking, this uncertainty is negative for the British economy, and the Office of Budget Responsibility has already expressed their fears by predicting that UK economic growth could shrink 2%, unemployment could rise 5%, and even house prices can tumble 10%. So we could actually have a taste of the ramifications of this has to the UK economy. But to answer your question, this uncertainty is going to feed into sentiment, it's going to negatively impact economic data, and eventually force the Bank of England to make a move.
We're already seeing it. A lot of big names, big brands, companies closing shop in the UK, moving out of that region because they're so concerned as to what's going to happen. What now in terms of the negotiations with the European Union? Are they going to reopen these talks because they didn't go very well with Theresa May?
Yes, with no clear majority in Parliament, Brexit developments are likely to drag on till October the 31st. Now, in the most unplanned of events, Boris Johnson could face a no-confidence vote if his popularity starts to drop, and this will result to a possible general election or even a second referendum. So ultimately, such a development will result in Brexit talks being dragged on beyond October to possibly even 2020. So to answer your question, no, the Brexit is not going to move quicker. In fact, it's actually going to move even slower.
Okay, so we're looking at our rand holding steady against a little bit firmer against the pound this afternoon. But what are we expecting? What are we expecting on the markets for South Africa going forward? Considering that there's still so much of uncertainty as to what's going to happen with Brexit.
Yeah, so in regards to that, the South African rand has found some support after the SARB moved forward to cutting interest rates. And this is a welcome development for South Africa, given how a handsome chunk of consumption is part of GDP. Now, lower rates in South Africa means that all of a sudden, consumers have that more disposable income because they have less credit card repayments, less to pay on credit card repayments, mortgage repayments are less, and it supports the economy. But going back to answering your question, with the pound expected to weaken further, this could offer the South African rand to shine against the British pound.
Well, so we'll leave it on that positive note. Thank you very much for your time this evening, Lukman Otunuga, Senior Research Analyst at FXTM.